Welcome to the dirt. I'm Gray. That's Nicole. It is our first of many weekly in-season episodes. You know, we've had fun in the summer talking about our lives, talking about some of the softball topics, but now we get to give our unfiltered thoughts unfiltered to an extent, on everything happening in the softball world, amongst many other things. Hello, Mindy. How are you?
Hello, Gray. How are you? First of all, what are we sipping on? You asked what I was. I'm sipping on Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Like I said, it has dates, peanut butter, banana, oatmeal. It's fantastic. It's my favorite. What do you have?
This is a rare drink called coffee, and
Mmm.
it's got some creamer in it. And my Stranger Things mug gifted to me by one Erica Beach, my dear friend and pal, who I watched the most recent season of Stranger Things with, and with whom I plan to hopefully. I actually haven't seen when the new season comes out, but who I hope to watch the new season with this summer. So
I think I saw some kind of trailer and I was like, I can't wait. I binge it too fast. I binge my TV shows too fast. Which brings me, I have been wanting to talk about this because for so many different reasons.
yeah,
Have you seen the new oh gosh. Have you seen the new Netflix TV show that's coming out with Kate Hudson?
yes.
And she's supposed to be like the owner or the manager or whatever of like this basketball team. I'm like, "Oh, that looks so good." One, sports, obviously.
Yeah.
Two, it's Kate, like my girl, like hello, I love her. Three, like I love a new show. I love anything like new, exciting, and I just know as soon as it comes out, I might be done with that show in that same day.
Well, what excites me about it is it's a comedy, which fire me up. Sports comedies, I know that there's going to be some niche stuff that you and I and probably other sports people get, which I love being in on
You're
the
like,
joke. Get to, but also you're right. Kate Hudson, the resurgence is on, man. Glass Onion a couple of years ago, she was awesome in that. She was kind of the gifable moment of that movie, and now we got a show, and she's been kind of bopping around the last few years after kind of being quiet in the late 2010s. So I'm excited to have her back. I like her a lot.
I love her. Yeah. I was thinking about that whenever you said Stranger Things, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? I haven't talked to you about this yet." So I was like, great.
Maybe we'll do a weekly recap on the dirt of unless Nicole finishes the season in one day.
If we do it for the dirt, I vow to only take it one episode at a time and we can all
Yeah.
recap together. Spoilers will be on here.
Stay
Just a heads up.
tuned. We're gonna talk about a lot of different topics on this show, but first a little housekeeping. Make sure that you are liking and subscribing all Softball America content on the YouTube page, on the audio platforms, however you get your audio podcasts. Make sure you're following all Softball America social media accounts, including myself and Nicole's various X's. X accounts, not X's. Don't follow our X's. And make sure that you drive up the content machine. Comment, leave reviews, etc., etc.
I love seeing comments. I love replying to them. So please send them.
Nicole
Please.
said. Nicole
I'm
said,
begging.
please.
I'm begging.
Okay, softball starts this weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I wanted to ask you a question though,
Yeah.
because this is something that came up for me this past weekend. Before we get into the softball of it all, how do you like to spend your last non-softball weekend?
Ooh.
Because, as I tell all my friends, get me now or I will see you in June.
Or else. So this past weekend, how I'd like to or how I actually typically spend my
Both.
weekend, because they're very different. I would love to be on a beach, somewhere warm, vacationing, just like relaxing, not doing anything. How it actually looks is I traveled. I was doing coaches interviews. I was prepping for not only season starting broadcasting wise, but Softball America wise. I was setting up my training schedule for working out and hitting and getting back into that groove. Do I need to go on? I picked out some paint colors. I think I want to paint my room. So
Oh,
yeah.
what are the options?
Um Pale pink or pale purple, because I'm gonna go bold with a pop of like red, a lot of red in the room. Red and purple.
You a Sooner with red? I'm
No,
shocked.
not crimson, like cherry red. But I
So
don't want it to look too cupidy. Yeah, like that kind of red. I don't want it to look too cupidy, like pink and red. So I'm like having a hard time because I need to pick out the right color. But I'm just kind of tired of my room being just like, mm, like I want a little
you want some
pizzazz.
feistiness.
Yeah, I do. So
I like it.
yeah, but I'm like the walls can't be too feisty because then I'm just gonna be like overwhelmed all the time. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm like trying to go to bed. I'm like, whoa, this is a lot. I regret every single decision. I feel like people go through their journey of like figuring out what their style is. I went through a tie-dye phase. I finally settled on athleisure. I'm still learning. You found your khakis, I think day 3 of your life, and you've stuck with it.
I feel
Um,
so seen with that comment. You know me too well. We've known each other for a year. How does this happen?
y'all, we were talking, Gray and I, the other day, and I was like, I have never seen him in anything. Like I don't think I've seen him in jeans. Like it's always been khakis. And so in my head, I'm like, when Gray is just like relaxing, like unwinding, like Gray would wear khakis to the beach in my head. Like that is his swimsuit, maybe shorts, like short khakis, but they're khakis. And in my head, I'm like, wow, like, does he sleep in khakis? Like we talked about this. Like, yeah, it's a thing.
I love to put on my home khakis once I get in from a long day at the
Comfy
ballpark.
khakis. Let's settle in. Watch some more softball for the night.
Actually, I will say, to kind of transition to my answer, I did wear athletic shorts a lot this past weekend.
I'm shocked. What constituted this great movement?
So I was at a bachelor party, and it's
Your
for
first
my
one?
second one.
Second one.
I went to one last summer that was great. Shout out to McKee. This one with one of my longest and dearest and oldest friends, Cooper Barnes. He's getting married this summer. Shout out to him for scheduling the wedding not during season, and shout out to him for scheduling the bachelor party not during season. Took my notes. I appreciate that, pal. And there were 21 guys on this trip.
Oh my.
Yeah,
That's
groomsmen,
that's
ushers.
large.
It was large, but we were at a hunting farm, and there were beds for everybody. It was a wonderful.
Were you in a bunk bed?
No, I was in like a queen. I mean, there were beds available.
Wow.
Yeah, they Skip Cooper, he's got it set up. And Saturday turned into an athletic competition. We had 10 teams of 2, so there were 20 people there, and we played pickleball. We had a 3-point shooting contest. We had golf. We had a pool tiebreaker to determine the champion. And the winner of the $100 was me and Camden Barnes.
You're kidding. Look at you. Gray Robertson over here in the back. Hello.
Yes, you.
Nicole Mendes, Softball America. What did that rush feel like whenever you guys knew you won? What did that feeling feel like? All that hard work you put in?
It was excellent because I suck at pool. And it was I who made the final shot to clinch
No
it.
way.
Also, shout out to my partner, Camden, for hitting the green in golf. That was what we had to do. We were a great pickleball pair. We both knocked down the necessary 3-pointers, and it was a great time. I did injure my knee in one-on-one basketball later on in the day, but that did not affect my pool performance.
Mm-mm.
And what I loved about the weekend also was I could go because it wasn't softball season, but also we were in the woods, middle of nowhere, Alabama, and it was
Mhm.
kind of fun being off the grid. I'm not off the grid very often, perhaps to my own detriment, but I really enjoyed kind of like having one spot on the property where I could get texts. I mean, we texted a little bit at one point, and that was kind of it. And I just got to be there with a lot of these guys that I didn't know and got to know this weekend. And one of my best friends, and it was just a ton of fun. So I don't plan on going to a bachelor party every year the weekend before softball, but I enjoyed the timing of this one.
I love that. I absolutely love that for you. Crushed it. Got to spend time with your bros. Had a good weekend. In my
Got
head, that's like
$100.
all the activities. I was like, yeah, like that's what 20 guys would do if they ever hung out. They would like just play a bunch of like sports games and go hunting and like
And drink. I mean, let's be real.
and yeah.
We ate great food, and we had
I'm like, yeah, that sounds like something a guy would do. Like, wow, what a bachelor party.
watch basketball. It was awesome. It was I took so many mental notes for the far off time when my bachelor party will be at some point. Hopefully, hit me up.
We also last year spoke about signing Gray up for Love is Blind, right?
Yes,
Um, should we continue that theme or
I think we can.
maybe fully send in the application this time, not just talk about it? If you actually got the application and you were accepted, would you go?
Yeah,
Would you say that? And then you're like, well, it depends on the time of the year, or would you go?
it depends on the time of year.
Oh,
If it's
not what
during
you were
softball
love,
season,
Gray,
if it's
not what
during
you
softball
love.
season, that's hard. I can't just be gone for 7 weeks. I mean, I could, but I don't want to.
You
How would
could.
y'all go on without me
It would
hosting
be
your
tough,
podcasts online?
but we would do it for you finding love. We would do it.
Well, thank you.
But speaking of softball starting up, I did want to get into some softball news.
Me too.
Patty Gasso, head coach of USA. I did not see that coming. I saw that and I was like, you sneaky little girl, Coach Gasso.
You wily minx.
She's you wily girl. I was like, whoa, I am so pumped for her. I mean, she's incredible, obviously. Like, played for her, totally biased on how I view her. And I think she's amazing. And where she's going to take USA, especially them hosting, it's going to be awesome. So I was over the moon whenever I saw that announcement. Did you expect it? What
No.
did you like? What was your reaction? What were you doing when Patty Gasso was announced as USA coach?
I was typing something up in bed on my laptop, and then my phone blew up. I was like, oh no, what has happened? Oh wow, this has happened. That was my reaction. First off, slam dunk. I mean, it makes sense. If there were a U.S. national football team, I would hope they would hire Nick Saban. Like, you get the best.
Yeah.
And Patty Gasso is the best. I think it also addresses a lot of the issues I've had with Team USA the last, I don't know, since the 2020 Olympics. You know, you want to fix an offense, bring in a Gasso. They're probably going to be able to help out in those situations.
You got 3 options here.
Yeah. So I love that. And I find the timing really interesting. And I did want to talk to you about this because I said on Good Morning Softball America with Tara, I think that we just got a clue into the final years of the Patty Gasso head coaching experience, because this would be an incredible capper. You know, if this were what were her final duties as a head coach, coaching Team USA in Oklahoma City in the
Great.
2028 Olympics.
You're gonna make me emotional.
Winning, right? Well, that's the narrative. I mean, that would be exactly how it would play out. You could see a storied career end with the one thing Patty Gasso doesn't have, which is a gold medal as a head coach of Team USA. And I'm kind of thinking like that's how this is going to play out, and what better way to cap off your coaching career to set up JT at Oklahoma. And especially with all the turnover, I think, this year, super young team. Next year, all these kids are going to have a year under their belt, plus another great freshman class coming in. And maybe another year beyond that. I think sometime in the next few years, it would make sense for her to take a step back and focus on the Team USA of it all and allow for JT to take over. And I just think it's a slam dunk for USA softball. It's a slam dunk for Patty Gasso. I love that she said yes. And I think it'll just make the national program better.
Yeah.
And it will, I hope, bring some fear to the Japanese team, because they've been owning it the last few years. Pretty much since the World Games, Japan has been in charge. And that is not what should be happening. We need, as a country, to lock in on 28, because we got to win that gold medal on our soil, on our home field.
That is our political plan right now.
Yes.
Great.
And also, Emily Pitek brought this up on Out of the Box, which is out, and I recommend everyone listen to it. What a great way potentially to solidify the Olympic or softball in the Olympics going forward, when you see all the people that are going to show up and show out in Oklahoma City solely because Coach Gasso is leading the way for Team USA. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to be such a scene. I can't wait. So
I know
that's all the stuff that went through my head.
I thought about, should I text her and just be like, hey, like, I'll be your water girl. Like, what do you need? Like, just get me there, girl. Just get me there. I'm like, dang, wow. Like how amazing. That's going to be a really awesome experience. I still am bitter. Should be in LA. It should be in the state of California.
Yeah.
Very bitter. Very, very. Can you imagine Patty Gasso coaching, playing against Japan with Team USA in a baseball stadium, a massive stadium? You know how many people would go to that? The capacity potential? Just, anyways, I'm over it. Clearly, I'm over it.
But I think that this is the best case scenario for having it in Oklahoma City. I think Team USA put themselves in a great spot.
I just think the Olympics were a bit lazy.
I'm with you. And that was in the premiere episode of the
worst case scenario. I love it. I do. And I love OKC. Always had a good time there. So yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man. Okay, your turn. What's next on the agenda? What do you want to talk about? I had to talk about Coach because that was just incredible.
I'm glad you brought it up, because that was on my list, as well as, I wanted to talk about preseason rankings, because you and I are a part of the top 25 voting committee, but I don't think we have ever fully explained our process.
Ooh, yeah.
So I would like to hear yours, Nicole.
Oh,
let me sit back and judge. I mean, listen.
You should have given me a heads up. I gotta go find it now.
Well, that's what the dirt is. I mean, we're just flying by the seat of our pants out here.
The seat of our pants. We're just flying by. That's the wrong email.
I'll ask you a question real quick, circling back to Patty Gasso. If I had to ask which former Sooner is a lock for 2028 Team USA, who would you guess? You get to pick one.
Like right now.
Right now.
Not if they're playing then.
Yeah, based on the pool as it sits here on February 5th, 2025.
I would say Jocelyn Allo or Tiara Jennings, one of those two.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, that's I have nothing bad to say about either of those players. It'd be a great choice.
I mean, offense is the thing. And whenever I think of Sooners that are still playing offensively, like, incredible. Yeah, I think that's who I would go with, those two. Who would you pick?
Kinsey Hansen.
Also a great choice.
She's
I
got
just
Team
could only
USA
pick one, and
experience.
I'm like, I can't pick. So I just said those two. Who's your top 25?
Well, I posted my full ballot on the dugout on the Softball America forum, but my process was interesting because I ordered the SEC teams in the order that I had them in my SEC preseason poll.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I have made a couple shifts since then.
What made you shift?
You know, late additions, injury news, closer look at the schedule, stuff like that. And then I would also like to say that you and I are the two lowest people on Texas Tech.
Yeah. I mean, Kennedy is amazing.
Love
She's
her.
amazing. And the talent that has been brought into Tech, higher standard for sure for Tech. The expectations way higher. But whenever you bring that many people in that are new, that are from all over, you're getting settled into a new school, a new routine. Like, it takes a while to set cadence. Can it be done? Yeah, I would love to be proved wrong, totally. But I just know that it takes time, and I just am not sold that they can get it together in time. Now, I do think it does help them that Oklahoma and Texas aren't in the Big 12 anymore, because that allows them a little bit more time. They still have to face Oklahoma. Like, there's Oklahoma State, there's Arizona, like BYU had a good running last year, UCF, they were always close with some of the top teams. But you can't deny there's a certain level bump that you have to be at to be able to compete with those teams. And so being able to get your team together during conference, that does help. So I think they benefit from that, but I just don't see them being where they need to be into the World Series, the top 8. Because there's been so much parity already, and there's been so much momentum being built the past few years with so many different programs that they're right there. They almost have it, versus Tech, they're having to start from the beginning. So I just don't see them overcoming that momentum unless there's some kind of crazy synergy shift, and that team is just tight as can be, solely locked in on their focus.
I love that.
Yeah.
The timing thing for me was the biggest issue I have with Texas Tech. Also, I mean, this is an experiment. Like, we don't know how a team with a lot of people cobbled together because of NIL will handle operating and living as one when you've also got a pitcher who got a well-publicized over $1 million NIL deal for this year. But your point about timing is a good one. Teams don't just randomly make it to OKC for the first time after not. Like, historically, you go to Supers a couple times and then you go to Oklahoma City. Texas Tech has been in the tournament, I think it's either 6 or 8 times. They've never been to a Super. They've been close. Probably should have won the Baton Rouge Regional a few years ago in 2019, I believe. But yeah, it's hard for me to see a team just suddenly make that jump because we've never seen it before. And while I respect a lot of Coach Glasgow's, history, and I think he's a really good coach, he also hasn't been there as a head coach. They went to one Super with Louisiana and didn't score a run in either game in Seattle a few years ago. He's been to the World Series as an assistant, but there is something about that intangible of getting there as a head coach. And that's something that programs have to learn over time. And I'm not sure that there's a fast track to learning that in 1 year. And, we'll see what the ramifications are if they don't make it this season. But yeah, I just, I'm not totally sold on a team coming from missing the NCAA tournament to making the World Series. That hasn't happened. I don't know the last time that happened specifically, let alone their first World Series.
I am curious to see, because we're going to see a lot more transfers, obviously, with NIL, with transfer portal. You already saw it just with transfer portal, but now with these NIL incentives like Kennedy's, I think we're going to see it a whole lot more. You look at the trends of football, you look at the trends of basketball, and that's going to creep into everything else. I'm curious, maybe the trend is the best teams do have to figure it out in one season. The best coaches understand that they might get not a new team every single year, but half of their team is new every single year. It could be. I don't know. But just looking at the trends that are happening, there's a lot of change and rotation and movement going on. And softball teams, the sizes are a lot smaller. But I mean, even this year. So I'm curious the effect that that's going to have and how tech handles it, because I think everybody's watching them. Again, expectations are high. So I'm really curious about that. If you could be at any opening tournament, which one would it be preseason?
Am I allowed to say my own, the one that I will be at?
I mean, if that's the one, like, as a fan, as somebody who loves watching softball, I'm like, if I go to this one, I'm going to get the most bang for my buck.
Well, if that's the answer, then it's the NFCA Leadoff Classic. You know, we got Thursday, Jordy Ball versus Carlin Pickens. Yeah, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
We got Saturday, Nyjah versus Jordy Ball, probably. Yeah, let's go. And then, Duke, Penn State, they're there. Mississippi State is there as well. There's a lot of good in that field, although I am excited about going to Tucson tomorrow as we record, hopping on that flight, getting out to the Kendra Classic, seeing all my friends, seeing Brady.
Brady Vernon.
That'll be fun because I don't know anything about Washington. I don't think anybody does until we see them play. And Arizona is the hardest team I've ever had to prep for because they have 7 pitchers who I could see play on Saturday in a one-game scenario. So
Pitch by committee coming
I just
into
want to
play.
see it.
Yeah. Ugh.
What about you?
I'm just so excited. I would probably say the same. I'm so curious. I would say especially Jordy and Kennedy, just being able to see them too. Jordy, obviously, because of the injury recovery and being able to come back and just being able to see, okay, where is she? Is she going to be able to build momentum as season goes on? Absolutely. Everybody does that. But where is she starting point today? Because I think that sets the tone for her team. And then Kennedy, same thing. I want to see how that team plays behind her, because she's going to do what she does. But you have 8 other players on the field. You have a whole offense that has to produce. And I'm curious to see how that goes. And it's always fun to watch Carlin Pickens. I mean, she's like limbs flying, just balls zipping in there. I'm like, I enjoy watching her throw. So I'm curious to see how that matchup goes too. So I would say, yeah, that would be my one.
Wait, I want to ask you about the hitting mentality against a team like Arizona, because there are 8 pitchers.
Are we scouting right now?
A little bit. There are 7 on the board. And as you can see, the board, typically I'll do, let's find a good example. 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's been the case.
Yeah.
I would say.
7. As a hitter, how the heck? What are you doing? What are you thinking about? Do you care? Or are you just focusing on, all right,
oh yeah,
I'm hitting, walk me through it.
My fastest thought that I think of is, can I generalize any of these pitchers into the same category? Or any of them rise balls? Are any of them curveballs? Maybe this one girl has curve rise, and I know there's going to be nothing going away from me and there's nothing going to be going down. So I can put her in an up down category and she's going to be with the up pitchers. And maybe that weekend, all I'm doing is looking up. And whenever these 4 pitchers are up and whenever the other pitchers are up, I'm just looking down, or I'm looking slow or away or something, like finding tendencies that they all share. that I can specifically target. And I think you'll have like one or two that are outliers where it's like they
Yeah.
have three really, really good pitches that just totally deceive. And so you have to go a little bit deeper with them. But if I can generalize as much as possible, then I can say, all right, like they all kind of have this. And then whenever I get into game, that's where I talk with my teammates and go, okay, her rise ball is a little bit zippier than we were thinking, than we planned. How can I make that adjustment like now? How can that next batter make the adjustment? But I would try to generalize to make it easier in my head. So as a hitter, like you can't overthink. If you overthink, you die, right? Like you're done. And so by generalizing, it makes it a lot easier for your mind to go, oh, this this zone, this pitch, oh, this speed, oh, this movement, no movement, like that kind of thing. So I think that's what I would do. I mean, but again, prepping for 7 is hard. And
Yeah.
then say you get 4 in one game and you're not even going to get to see them the whole game, like making those adjustments as fast as possible, that's also hard. Like give me 2 times through and you're like, ah, like dang, I really wanted to make that adjustment. Now I'm having to make a totally separate adjustment. Like that I see coming into play, not just with Arizona, A&M. My gosh, their
Yeah.
bullpen so deep. So deep. But there's so many other teams across the country that have really deep bullpens this year with solid pitching that have spoken on, we want to have an entire staff. Maybe not in the traditional way of your Friday, your Saturday, your Sunday, but you three work well together. So at some point, you might see this. These hitters, this team struggles with this. So we might do you 4 bunched together as a trio twice in a weekend, like something like that. I see that being more the game plan with pitching this year than I think we've ever seen before. I will say though, first time I ever saw that, Texas Tech. Texas Tech,
I remember this.
a
Yes.
new pitcher, 7 pitchers every single inning. And I mean, obviously they didn't win, but you could tell like there is an adjustment period as a hitter. And if I'm relaying information, doesn't matter how good I am, if I'm constantly having to face a new pitcher, like that information is ancient, it's outdated. I need to update my information. So you're constantly having to play catch up. So I'm really curious. I think it's going to be fun. So
Yeah, it was a fun bit of prep. I spent a lot of time watching film on, and I also had to like do some searching, like a Ryan Maddox who redshirted last year. I had to go and
really.
watch some old YouTube videos. I had to do some polls. I had to deep
Mhm.
dive,
Deep dive,
which
which
I
we love,
love doing.
which we love.
But then I'm thinking, all right, if I'm an opposing coaching staff, I'm super annoyed right now because I'm having to look up all these things and all these people because they all
For
might
just
make an
one team.
appearance. Yes, for
And
one
that's the
game.
hardest part about preseason is like you could face one team one time, one game, but throughout the entire weekend you're facing 6 different teams. And then you're like, crap, like how much time do I really actually have to focus on this one, this one, this one, this one? How much time do I have for my athletes? Again, from a coach's perspective of how the heck do I get them enough time to prep and remember every single pitcher from every single team and every single stretch? Can we group? Again, I think that's where like the grouping comes in of like, okay, can I put them into a category and then refine it as we go? But I
All
love
right, so now I'm
preseason
gonna.
so much.
Well,
It's
let
my
me ask
favorite.
you this question because I know I've asked you in the past which pitcher you hated to play against at Oklahoma. How about which team slash pitching staff did you not like to play against because of what we're talking about? Kind of the variety,
Mm.
the difficulty to prepare for them as a whole.
I would say Oklahoma State. They always they always did a really good job with matchups, um, and just being able to set up the timing and disrupt it as a hitter. And so you're preparing and you kind of know what's coming because you face them, but they do such a good job year after year. It's never really quite the same thing. Um,
Hmm.
so it was always you had to be on your game whenever you face them. And there was the element of this is like a rivalry, like in state, that kind of thing, which always boosted the adrenaline. Everybody's playing their A game, which made it fun. So I don't think I would say there was never really a team where I'm like, I hate playing them. I loved playing Oklahoma State, but they were difficult. They were always difficult to prep for. So I'd say more so that than anything. They were difficult.
I like that answer. My thought, again, I didn't
Yeah.
play, but I'm thinking from a watching, breaking down the game. I was always super annoyed by early Florida, early in my broadcasting days. You know, when you have Barnhill and Ocasio on the same team and they're both so different and
Yeah.
they're both so good, it's like, all right, well, if you finally figure out one of them, here comes the other.
See,
It only took 4 years to get to Barnhill.
I liked hitting off of Lily. It was a Barnhill Delaney combo that, man,
In 17.
every single World Series, and I've now had 2 moments. This is the problem. I'm exposed whenever I go to the World Series. Every single year I'm not even kidding. Now that I said it, Gray and everyone watching, you will notice this. There is a video that they show of me in the batter's box from the perspective of the umpire's lens, where I swing and miss in slow motion on a changeup. And then I literally swing so badly and I'm so early that I literally fall.
This was
This is Delaney.
Delaney.
I fall across the
Yeah.
plate. LOL, is this you? This totally looks like, and I'm like, the other one. Oh my gosh. I was so humbled. It was my senior year, so freshman, I really bookended my career there. I led off against Florida State with a double game 1. I'm like, heck yeah, like here we go, like yeah, like let's go. There's a pop flying right. And for some reason, like I look back at the video and I'm like, you're an idiot. Why did you go? Like that was so dumb. And I'm like, I got this. Like in my head, she's deep right field. In the video, she's like this far from the dirt. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like sprinting in too. I'm like, what? And I'm like, go hosed out at third. And that's how they end the inning. And coach is just standing there with her hands on her hips. And she's like looking at me and she just like shakes her head. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I always get those 2 videos sent to me. I always see them. It's like World of Softball account posted. I'm like, not this again. Not this again.
You're like, leave me alone. I am retired from the
I'm
OU
not
program.
even in college anymore. Like, yes, like thanks for putting me on there because it's nice to relive the glory days, but that's not what I wanted.
So much has happened
Why
since
don't they-
then. We don't need to
That's what I'm
relive the
saying,
bad
like,
thing.
if you're gonna replay something, replay my highlights. Like, why are you showing their highlights? Why aren't you showing mine? Like, yeah. I just I guess I really love giving the opportunity to other people to let them shine. I apparently, yeah. So
You're so selfless. It's
I'm a real team player. That's what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Saint Mindy out here just giving us the dirt.
Oh yeah. I don't want to give you my top 25.
You don't have to. I was just curious about the like what goes through
I know
your
I'm
head
gonna get
when you're
so
ranking
much
them.
hate. But whenever I'm ranking, I try to be as mean as possible. From the sense of if I let emotion creep into it, then it'll change everything. I don't care who your name is. I don't care if you're Oklahoma or if you're Texas Tech and you have like whatever your reputation is. Like I want to look at your team this year and take emotion out of it and go, what do they look like? Are they good? Do I think they have potential? And there is, and I know softball has become so data driven, but there is this thing where it's like an element of energy, an element of team chemistry. Like you can have the best teams in the world and they're going to go far, but they're not going to go all the way. And they're not going to do it again and again and again, even if they get lucky one time. Like that won't happen because their team doesn't have that. And
if I may, I think Alabama is a great example of that last year.
yeah, Because no way they should have been in that supers. No way they should have been in the World Series. But because you have good team chemistry, like you beat teams that are supposed to beat you, and you beat them handily because you have that like intangible. There's no data for that. So I try to take emotion out of it, and then I try to see like what is that team chemistry like. I do a lot of Instagram stalking. Because are you posting your teammates? Like, are you hanging out with them? Like that's a real thing. That's a real
That
thing.
is something people notice,
So
100%.
I'm a stalker. I'm creepy. Great. I sound so creepy. Okay.
I'm clipping
I'll do
that
this.
for social media.
Give me your bottom 5 of the top 25.
All right, let me pull up my ballot
I'll go first.
because, all right, go for it.
While you're pulling that up. 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay. At 20, I had Virginia Tech. 21, Northwestern. 22, Penn State. Wait. Oregon, I had at 25. Virginia had at 24. Penn State at 23. Northwestern at 22. Virginia Tech at 21. And Liberty at 20.
Okay, I had a pretty similar collection of teams. At 25, I had Virginia. 24, I had Michigan. 23, I had Liberty. 22, I had Nebraska. 21, Northwestern. 20, Cal.
You ranked Cal a little low. That's right. I forgot about
Perhaps.
that.
I want to see their pitching a little bit.
Compared to how
Randy Rolling.
the rest, I would say the rest of Softball America staff voted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to be on an island. I mean,
you know, Brady's not afraid to really like rah Indiana. And like, if we're proven wrong, prove me wrong. I love being proved wrong.
I love the Indiana program. Shout out to the Hoosiers. I got a lot of friends who've played there, and they were one of the first people to tweet out of the box, which I loved. That wasn't an SEC school. You know, I would love to rank Indiana. Give me a reason to rank you. You know, and I had 30. I mean, shoot, how many teams did I have not on my poll? I had 9 teams just on the outside that I was ready to rank, but yeah.
Slide them in at any time. Yeah. But I mean, the first ranking is so silly. Like, you do all your research, you do all that, and it's just an educated guess because you see the first weekend and everything shuffles. Everything shuffles.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is, kind of thing.
I'll be ready to move some teams around. Is there anything else softball opening weekend that you want to get to, or is it time?
I think it's time.
Okay. Here it is.
The stain!
It's the stain! Woo!
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'm ready.
Explain what the stain is.
Yeah, if you're new here, the stain is a parting thought, perhaps some wise words, or just something that we're excited about. And I've got kind of a stain and a half.
You feel passionate about it. Like, it's the thing that it's like dirt that, like, you gotta dig a little bit. You gotta scrub. Like, it's not coming out. Like, it's something that's here.
Like the Tide stick isn't. You know, we're not getting it. Like, we have to watch it multiple times. You gotta
get the soap and the toothbrush. You know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. One of my 2. This morning, as we record, the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer came out on Twitter, on YouTube, and as for lack of a better phrase, as a simp for Jurassic Park, I'm so excited for this movie. I love all things dinosaurs. Jurassic Park is one of the OG movies for me that made me fall in love with cinema. And we got my boy, Jonathan Bailey, and my girl, Scarlett Johansson, Jay chilling on an island with raptors hunting down. Fire me up. You up. Mahershala is here. I mean, July 2nd, Jurassic World Rebirth hits theaters. I will be seated, as the kids say.
Sad. I love it.
Yes, I already have my tickets. I don't, but my second one, I just wanted to shout that out to everybody. Please check out the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer and tell me if I'm crazy. Also, fans of SEC teams, and I'm thinking Alabama because I see it, but my guess is it is widespread. I understand that we're all excited that Texas and OU are here and that we can't wait to play them and that they will be fun weekends. But let's focus on the games that we actually have coming up as opposed to ones in March, April, and May. I saw a lot on certain social media pages of comments like, hope they're ready for OU, hope they're ready for Texas. I personally hope they're ready for the opener. Let's get there. And then when the time comes, we can start to talk about preparations for playing Oklahoma and Texas, which will be events for a lot of teams in this conference. Those are going to be great weekends. But let's not get ahead of ourselves because a lot of other softball teams in this country are quite good too. So let's make sure that we are ready to play those games and not looking ahead to something that is 30 games down the road. That is my stand.
Mic drop.
I'm not going to drop this mug. It's very big and there's still coffee in it.
I really like that stain. That's a good take. Because if you look too far ahead, hello, you look at UCLA last year, and I mean, they ended up figuring it out, but you look at UCLA and how they started, and it was like, it was rough. It was rough. And
There
I
were
don't think it was
concerns.
because they were looking ahead, but there is the fact of the matter of you have to take care of the games that are right here in front of you. Like you can't look too far ahead.
Yes.
Going to my stain. Two of my very best friends. One I have known since I was 8 years old. One who I met in college, lived with for several years, very close to her. One is having a bachelorette party in April. One is having her wedding the OU Alabama weekend. They both played softball. They know, and I'm not a guest. I'm in the wedding.
Where did they play? Tell us. Can you? Is that okay?
I'm not divulging any other information.
All right. Was it
Collegiate.
Division
Yeah.
1 Power 4
Yeah.
softball? Okay. Well, the flags are red and they're blowing in the breeze.
I was like, you guys. I was so sad. I was so sad. And I get it. Like, obviously, I'm going to their wedding. Like, I'm great friends with them. I'm so happy to see that this is a step in their life. And as great as OU Alabama is going to be, that's just a softball moment. Like, this is getting to see one of my best friends get married to her future husband. Like, I'm not going to miss that moment. That to me is more important.
Calling the Gray, Sydney, Nicole, Westgate extravaganza just a softball moment is ridiculously offensive.
I'm offended for you that I just had the audacity to say that.
I'm offended for you.
I'm offended for you at my own self. How about that? Does it make you feel better?
But we have talked about this. Are you going to try and come in for the Monday night game?
I am going to try and fly over there. So I might be able to get something, but it's like this is my stain. Getting to the point. I'm landing the plane.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody's like, a guy is like, I don't know, didn't mean to do that.
I don't know where that came from.
Whenever you talk about a wedding and you're with guys and they're like, oh, don't plan on a Super Bowl weekend. Like, oh, the team's playing this weekend. Can't be this weekend. I like sports too. I like softball too. I don't know if they like softball, but I'm invested too. And I'm like, ah. So it's not all about the groom and their sports season. It is also about the bride and what they want. But I know I'm not a bride, but whenever, if and when, again, going to that, if and when I ever get married and I find the one, being able to have, I was like, I'm going to have to get married in the summer. Like there's no other option. Like,
yeah.
How awful. How awful.
Well, I'll shout out again to my buddy Cooper, because this is like my best friend. You know, we've known each other since third grade. We've been tight forever. And when he got engaged, we were, talking about the wedding dates. And he said, well, we have a couple in mind. One of the ones we're looking at is this weekend in May. And I was like, nope, please don't. Please pick another date. That's Supers weekend. I cannot miss Supers. Please, for the
Supers
love.
would be tough.
It was like, well, Chandler has another one that she likes in July. I was like, cool, support her. Do that. That'd be great. I'll be
that
there.
Date for Chandler.
we love a good July wedding so that Gray, one of multiple groomsmen, can be there. Make it all about me on your day. That's what I want.
Oh, man. I hope my friends never see this.
Yeah, I hope the other groomsmen don't see this either. They're going to be like, wait, we had power here? They're like, dang it, May, that was when we wanted it. Oh, boy.
Man. The life whenever you're married to the game, right?
It'd be like that sometimes. And when I say sometimes, I mean starting this weekend all the way until
Unless
June.
you're in Love is Blind, then it don't be like that.
Then we will have a hiatus from the love of the game and look for the love of someone we can't see.
We'll still have our weekly dirts. Give me the dirt. What's going on?
Coming at you live from the pods.
Oh man. Wow, I'm pumped for this year. Like we're rocking, we're rolling. The dirt is kicked off. I'm so excited because we talked about this and it was unofficial last spring. It
was just something fun.
We had very private sessions and we sent it to very close friends and they loved it. And we were like, yeah, like this needs to be a thing. So the fact that this is a thing, I'm so excited because we're just chatting. We're just hanging.
Yeah. And you know what? The thoughts and the takes will probably get a little bit more unhinged as the season goes on, as things happen, because what's the great thing about softball, Nicole? Something always happens.
It's crazy.
All right. Before we wrap the dirt, how can the people find you on the socials, and tell us about your new show?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Nicole_Mendes_. Twitter. Yeah, there's some variation. Somebody keeps stealing my usernames. So it's Nicole_Mendes_. Maybe one or two, depending on what social media platform you find me on. But you will find me with some variation to that. It's Mendes with an S, Mendes. You guys can find me anywhere. And now that I am a unofficial new member of the SEC, which is wild.
It just means more.
Anyways, I haven't quite.
That's what I sit on every show.
I am going to be starting a podcast on Softball America's Network, just talking about softball, yes, but also as somebody who's new to the conference, getting to know, I want to know what are the best spots to eat at, what are the best places to visit, who are these athletes, what are their stories, and that's really what that pod is going to be. Yes, we're going into softball, we're analyzing, because I love to do that, but I also, who the heck is SEC? What is there to do at each of these schools? What makes it the best, as it's claimed? Why is it the best? I want to find out. And so that's what this year is about. It's called Diamond in the South, and it will be going on all season long. I am crazy pumped.
Yes, premiere Thursday, 7 Eastern on the YouTube. And look, allow me and Tom to assist you in the eating portion. Like, we will help you find the best restaurants around town. I will gladly submit videos from everywhere that we eat this year.
I have this hidden talent of being able to go on Yelp and getting some kind of spiritual feeling of like that place has good vibes, or like that's not it. So I will be doing some research from afar, but I will also be going on site to a couple places. So I'm very excited about that.
It's going to be lit. Follow me at Gray, GRAY_Robertson on X, or on the gram. I can't remember my handle. Gray Robertson 2, maybe. And listen to the Out of the Box podcast. Season 7 premiere dropped today, Wednesday morning, with Kinsey Fowler and Emily Petet Clifford. Had a great discussion with Em about how the NIL era is impacting regular fans, especially with ticket sales and all that fun stuff. So that's something to tune into. And then, we'll be back on the dirt next week.
What a time. That's it.
Let's go. That happy opening weekend. Did I do it too late?
Wrong way.
Go again.
You got to go that way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Boom.
We nailed it. We got all season to work
as per usual. Only here until June. No weddings except for that one and The Bachelor. You heard it. For Nicole, I'm Gray. Thanks for hanging out with us and tuning into the dirt. We'll see you next time.